Good evening, I'm Katerina Georgieva. This is CBC Windsor News. Thanks for being with us. Local companies are getting caught in the crosshairs of the trade war. And not just with the hits coming from the American side, but reciprocal tariffs too. Jennifer LaGrassa has tonight's top story.
While it's business as usual on the floor of Dainty Foods' Windsor facility, for company executives, the last few months have been anything but, thanks to tariffs.
A lot of impact, a lot of stress, high cortisol, a little bit of weight gain, a lot of lack of sleep.
The ongoing trade war hasn't been easy to navigate. At the Windsor facility, Canada's only rice mill, their rice is processed, sometimes cooked, and packaged. The company imports a majority of its rice from the United States, which means that since early March, it's been paying a 25% counter tariff. To avoid the tariff, the company is filing for an exemption. If they don't get one,
we'll have to look at restructuring some of our lines of business, as well as our entire supply chain.
Dainty's been in growth mode, but now some future investments have been put on pause, including a $40 million facility they're expected to open in the United States. In an email, a Finance Canada official didn't say how long the exemption process could take, nor did it say how many businesses have filed to receive one. Liberal incumbent for Windsor-Tecumseh Lakeshore says the government wants businesses to reach out.
Absolutely, we are having those conversations with companies like Dainty Foods and other companies to make sure we protect them as much as possible, but also delivering a hard and fast counterpunch to the Americans.
Finance Canada says there are also supports businesses can apply for, like the Duties Relief Program and the Duty Drawback Program. Now, as for Dainty, understanding that this all might take some time to resolve, they say they're going to avoid layoffs and increased prices as best they can. Jennifer LaGrassa, CBC News, Windsor.
The United States and China are both vowing to ratchet up the trade war. The White House confirmed the U.S. would impose a 104% tariff on China on Wednesday, after Beijing did not lift its retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods by noon today. CBC's Richard Madden has the latest from Washington.
They will be going into effect at 12:01 a.m. tonight, so effectively tomorrow, yes.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirming the U.S. will slap more tariffs on Chinese imports, totaling an astounding 104%, igniting the next phase of President Donald Trump's global trade war.
America does not need other countries as much as other countries need us, and President Trump knows this.
The world's two largest economies refuse to buckle, Beijing now imposing counter tariffs against the U.S., calling Trump's actions bullying, a mistake on top of a mistake, saying China will fight to the end.
The president believes that she and China want to make a deal. They just don't know how to get that started.
This follows an intense hearing on Capitol Hill, where lawmakers pressed Trump's new trade representative for punishing almost every country with aggressive tariffs.
I still cannot fathom why we are treating Canada and Mexico, our largest trading partners, basically the same way we're treating Beijing. It doesn't make any sense to me.
The country decisively voted for this president and his trade policy. He knows how to use tariffs appropriately to negotiate deals where necessary and to drive investment and manufacturing back to the U.S. And that's what we're doing.
The administration now says some 6 dozen countries have reached out to discuss trade deficits and barriers that impede U.S. exports, but warned these issues won't be solved overnight. Still, the fallout over Trump's tariffs is causing cracks from fellow Republicans, worried of the economic damage, rising inflation costs, and market uncertainty in their local communities, all caused by Trump's tariff and trade war.
We have to start from talking about the truth. One of the things they say with Canada is, oh, there's a 270% tariff on dairy products going from the U.S. into Canada. Well, you know what the real tariff is? 0.
And another more high-profile break is developing. Trump's billionaire advisor and Tesla CEO Elon Musk, who's a strong critic of tariffs, and White House trade advisor Peter Navarro, who is a key architect of them. Both are hurling public and personal insults at each other over the direction and impact of Trump's tariff agenda. Richard Madden, CBC News, Washington.
Khalil Hassanali joins us now for our first look at weather. Khalil, how's it looking out there tonight?
Okay, very, very cold, and it's going to be cold actually for the next little bit, unfortunately, for everyone that wants to be outside. So looking at that over the next 36 hours. So it's going to be cool through the overnight, unsettled work week for the rest of the work week. And then by the weekend, that's where it is going to switch off. So looking at the weather through the overnight hours tonight, getting down to -4 for Windsor. It is going to clear out a little bit. We did have a cloud cover through the day today, but it is going to be nice and cool, and then it's going to be actually quite a pleasant day as we start out the day, and then cooling down with that wind continuing to be part of the picture over the next 24 hours. So that is going to be what we're looking at, but a change coming up in the next little bit.
Sounds good. Thanks, Khalil. We'll talk to you later in the program.
Thank you.
To the federal election now. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh is in BC for the second time in this campaign, and his latest promises are about making Canada's housing market more affordable. Singh says he would turn the temporary ban on foreign homebuyers into a permanent measure. He's also promising to bar numbered companies and corporate proxies from purchasing homes.
We're going to make it permanent, the ban on big money investors buying up Canadian homes. That should be a ban. Homes in Canada should be for you and your family, not for rich investors to get richer. In addition, we're going to end the loophole that allows speculators to flip homes year after year. That's got to stop.
Singh says profits from the sale of a home sold within 5 years of its purchase would be taxed as income unless it's a principal residence. And Singh is back in BC because many NDP seats in the region now seem vulnerable, even his own. And as David Thurton reports, his party's dimming fortunes are also prompting a change in the leader's tone on the campaign trail.
Campaigning in Metro Vancouver near his own riding, Jagmeet Singh is fighting to keep the 12 NDP seats in BC.
Do you think you can win your own riding?
Absolutely. I'm confident that I'll be able to serve the people of Burnaby Central.
The Liberals are also in the region, hoping to pull in NDP support.
What's more fundamental to me as an NDP supporter is, protecting and improving our public health system. And I do think Carney will do that.
According to the CBC's poll tracker, the NDP is projected to win 5 seats, not enough to maintain official party status.
Mr. Singh himself is in jeopardy of losing his seat because the NDP has fallen so far in British Columbia.
Notably, New Democrats have adjusted their messaging.
I'm running to be Prime Minister of this country.
Singh no longer saying that.
Why are you changing your language?
I frame this answer in the context of the minority government because I've seen the difference that we make in people's lives.
You know how many seniors I have met that actually got dental care and what it means for them?
NDP incumbents are now campaigning on why Canada needs to maintain a strong New Democrat presence in opposition.
We fought for that. The largest healthcare expansion in more than 60 years. 25 New Democrats deliver that. So you better believe more New Democrats means fighting for people and getting things for Canadians.
It's a subtle change, according to Singh's former spokesperson.
So I think it is now clear in people's minds that we're looking at a probably minority Liberal government, potentially majority Liberal government. He's making his pitch that every additional NDP MP in Ottawa is an MP that's going to fight for people.
But Singh doesn't have much time to make that case with only 2 full weeks before Election Day. David Thurton, CBC News, Ottawa.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre was also out west, where he was making new promises to crack down on tax evasion. He's fresh off a huge rally in Edmonton that drew thousands of people, and it seems to have given him new wind in his sails. Olivia Stefanovich reports.
After holding his biggest rally so far on the campaign trail and receiving a major endorsement from former Prime Minister Stephen Harper, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is back on the attack, promising to crack down on tax havens while criticizing his main political rival, Liberal leader Mark Carney, for co-chairing 2 investment funds for asset manager Brookfield that were worth $25 billion, registered in Bermuda to give pensioners tax advantages.
You can't avoid your taxes. Global elites should not be able to either. And that is why I will end the Liberal 2-tier tax system, where elites get loopholes and working people get audited. and I'm going to be putting hardworking Canadians first for a change.
Tax havens are not illegal, but Poilievre continues to condemn Carney for his work with Brookfield as he tries to undermine the Liberal leader's credibility and appeal to working Canadians. Poilievre is promising to rewrite tax rules and close offshore banking loopholes. He also promises to name and shame wealthy corporations for dodging taxes like Brookfield, a company that Poilievre held indirect investments in. Poilievre made his pitch today in the new riding of Edmonton Southeast, where the Liberals have tapped Edmonton Mayor Amarjeet Sohi to run as a candidate. Olivia Stefanovic, CBC News, Edmonton.
Liberal leader Mark Carney is also campaigning in Western Canada, looking to connect with voters there. He started the day in BC, renewing his pledge to double the pace of housing before heading to Calgary for a campaign rally. Catherine Tunney reports.
Alberta Premier Daniel Smith has clearly been on Liberal leader Mark Carney's mind as he campaigns out here in the West. He's made a dig at her, joking that she should be sent to the U.S.
We're sending Doug Ford onto Fox News to show them that we're not messing around up here. And we're going to send Danielle next. Maybe we won't send her. Maybe we'll send Danielle. No, maybe we won't. We won't send Danielle. We're going to keep her. No, keep her. No, it's a bad idea.
He called that simply a lighthearted comment, adding that he respects Smith and downplayed conversations that he's the one fueling Western alienation and breaking up the country.
There is a lot of opportunity for Alberta, for Canada, and my government will spare no effort to make sure that the people of Alberta, the people of Canada realize those opportunities.
Carney is heading to Smith's province today, an area largely dominated by the Conservatives, especially amid frustrations from some Western voters over the Liberals' policies around oil and gas. Just last night, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre pulled thousands out to a rally in Edmonton. Carney promised that if elected, he would speak for all of Canada and once again use the opportunity to remind voters that he's an Albertan too. Catherine Tunney, CBC News, Delta, British Columbia.
Back to local news now. Vandalism has been reported at a cemetery in Windsor. This here is St. Alphonsus Cemetery by Howard and Ottawa. Headstones have been knocked over in parts of the graveyard. About a dozen were knocked over in the past couple of days. Staff have put caution tape up around the headstones, but they can't fix them until the ground starts to dry out. Staff tell CBC News that the repair costs will be covered by the cemetery, and Windsor Police is investigating. And on a lighter note, we want to tell you now about an extremely rare bird that was spotted in Essex County this week, the crested caracara. It's usually found in the southern United States, Mexico, and South America. Its presence here has the local birding community patrolling the back roads of the county, trying to catch a glimpse. We spoke with a local birder who was one of the lucky ones.
The crested caracara, it's a bird in the falcon family, even though it's very much unlike most other falcons, like our peregrines that we're kind of familiar with from the Ambassador Bridge there. Kind of looks more like a hawk and behaves more like a vulture. Really, this bird could have come from anywhere from Arizona, South Texas, Florida, or even South America. It's a pretty significant rarity for us, and so that was the excitement, is the fact that it's really not meant to be here. And on a day where we also had snow here in Windsor, Essex was the exciting part. It's like a large hawk, basically bigger, than a couple of our other local raptors like Cooper's hawk and things. So it's only the second time it's been seen in Essex County. The first time was in 1994 on Peely Island, and it's only the fifth time it's been seen in Ontario. When I first found out about it, I certainly freaked out. We had calls between many friends when it first got posted to eBird on April 6th. I realized I had to get up at 5 a.m. the next day to have a chance to be able to see this thing, and so that's what I did. And then I was fortunate enough to re-find it by myself a little while later in a completely different location and have just kind of a private moment with it, and that was especially exciting.
Very cool. The work of famed British artist David Hockney is being showcased at a major new exhibition in Paris.
When a kid of 14 or 15 or 16 comes to see an exhibition like this, who may never have seen an exhibition of an artist on this scale before, it's important to introduce them to their entire work.
The exhibition, spanning 25 years, features work drawn from museums and private collections around the world. It includes some of Hockney's best-known works, including A Bigger Splash. During the last quarter century, the 87-year-old spent a lot of time in Western France, where he painted the landscape that surrounded him. During that time, he also did portraits of friends, relatives, and even himself. Hockney is considered Britain's most popular and influential living artist. A live look outside there. It's been a gorgeous day, even though it was a chilly one, with an unfortunate chance of flurries tonight, I hate to tell you. Stay with us. We'll have more tariff news after the break. Welcome back. We told you earlier about the U.S. tariffs directed at China. Well, now they're causing problems for Canadian clothing brands that have their items produced there. Paula Duhatschek looks at how their challenges are piling up.
Canadian fashion companies, from major mall brands to small businesses, have been thrown a nasty curveball by the White House.
All of those rules are changing and the ground is shifting under our feet.
Even though the U.S. hasn't targeted Canadian fashion directly, it's imposing steep new tariffs on major garment-making hubs like China, India, and Vietnam. This Calgary-based women's workwear company manufactures in China and has American customers.
And maybe the U.S. market is just not something we can go at because our product will end up being just far too expensive for that customer.
On top of tariffs, a previous exception allowing small orders from China to the U.S. without tariffs will soon be gone.
I think that 25% of my customers will cancel their orders.
This Montreal kids clothing maker will soon have to slap a surcharge on all orders south of the border.
What people have to understand is that making clothing in India and China, it's not just because labor is cheap. There's an expertise there that does not exist here.
One of my members called this tariff hell.
Stock prices for fashion giants Aritzia and Lululemon tumbled when the tariffs were announced and are still down. Even companies that try to shift away from China to avoid tariffs now can't find a safe country to move to.
Smaller companies, it could be really devastating. And for very large companies, it could be very devastating. It's just everyone's in the same boat.
It's not just fashion. Any company that makes product overseas and sells it in the U.S. is trying to figure out what to do next.
They're going to be impacted by this, whether we're talking clothing, retail, toys, other items that they want to sell into the United States.
The owner of this women's wear company now focusing on customers north of the border. Paula Duhacek, CBC News, Calgary.
Young men are leading a sharp rise in the number of Canadians getting a firearms license. Many can vote for the first time, and they are keen to hear what the parties say about gun rights. Yvette Brand has details on what's driving the trend.
This 13-year-old squeezes the trigger of a Glock 19X. It's a restricted weapon that can only be used here at a gun range.
You're more powerful with this. You feel protected also.
Jaden Gagnon is part of a growing cohort of teenagers applying for gun licenses. This year, the number of applications went up 11% among people under 19.
The overarching interest is sort of experiencing what they see in movies.
Young men are at the forefront of this surge. Hashim Akbar says his first gunshot was jarring.
There's I believe a lot of adrenaline that goes through someone's body.
This 23-year-old university student got a gun license last year.
So most of the stuff that I wanted to buy was no longer legal. So I just went with the lever action that I could find.
5 years ago, the Liberals banned more than 2,000 models of firearms, including handguns and many semi-automatic style weapons, offering to buy them back.
After 2020, I believe the government may have maybe crossed the boundaries a little bit.
There is a lot of disappointment these days.
The shelves at this gun shop used to be full.
A lot of young Canadians getting involved in this for various reasons, and also recent immigrants who come to Canada because they want to enjoy the same rights and freedoms that we have.
When people start talking about gun owner rights, I get very concerned about the ideological flow of ideas from the U.S.
We've got our camera set up behind this bulletproof glass.
Sociologists blame a renewed interest in guns in part on the influence of social media.
The kind of masculine ideology that is being promoted on the radical right side of the political spectrum, it is very much a heroic masculinity, a nostalgic masculinity.
The surge in interest is creating new pressure to relax Canadian gun laws.
If you make something taboo, you generate interest in it.
Whatever the draw, this gun range owner says he's glad to see fresh young faces. Yvette Brand, CBC News, Vancouver.
When we come back, Khalil Hassan Ali will be back with us for a closer look at weather. Stay with us. Khalil Hassanali is back with us now for more on weather. Khalil, it feels a little bit like we're in this tug of war between spring and winter is winning because flurries are in the forecast for tonight.
Unfortunately, you are right, Katerina. So very much a tug of war, and that's going to be the picture that we see over the next couple of days, especially through the overnight tonight, where it remains cool. But I do have a little bit of good news as we head towards the weekend. So let's look at what we're expecting over the next little bit. So as I mentioned off the top in our earlier hit, it's going to be a cold night. It's actually going to be quite cool for the next about 24 hours because wind is going to be really part of the picture. An unsettled work week for Thursday, Friday, but as I mentioned, a sunny weekend ahead, and we'll end off on that with a little bit of good news. So looking at current temperatures right now, we're at the 4-degree mark, but we are going to get towards that freezing mark and below that as we go through the overnight hours. Right now it's already -1 in London and -2 in Goderich, -2 in Kingston as well. As we saw today, it got up to 4, so we're at our high at the moment, but closer to the GTA, it was much colder than that. 1 degree was only the high in Toronto, and even colder as you go towards Peterborough. So through the overnight hours, it is mostly cloudy right now. It is going to clear out a little bit as we head towards the morning. So -4 is that overnight temperature. So this evening, where there's that stronger possibility of a little bit of precipitation coming down in the terms of snow flurries and maybe even some rain mixed in with that as we warm up towards tomorrow. And wind gusts, as I mentioned, it's going to be making it feel a lot cooler than it actually is. So -4 with wind gusts, though, it's actually going to feel a lot colder than that. So picking up as we go through the day tomorrow, and even though we're above 0, it is going to be much colder because, once again, 25 kilometers an hour with wind gusts, that's not going to make it feel very nice. It's going to cool down, though, or taper down in terms of the wind as we go towards the overnight, but picks up again on Thursday morning. Now, tomorrow afternoon, looking at that high around 7 degrees, hopefully for the Windsor area, 7 degrees in Leamington as well. A bit cooler as you go towards Chatham-Kent and London. And now, looking over the next little bit, I did promise a little bit of a good news, let's say. So Wednesday, 7 degrees, 6 degrees on Thursday with a probability of precipitation in there. Friday, 7 degrees overcast. But look at that Saturday, Sunday. I'm really feeling that warmth already from that. 11 degrees on your Saturday and then 15 degrees come Sunday. And it looks like even maybe Monday might even get up towards the 20-degree mark, Katerina. Let's take that.
Oh my gosh, I love to see that. Thank you so much, Khalil. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you all for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow night.